everyone, and welcome to the Tom Baker Show. I'm your host, Tom Baker. It is great to be back with you wherever you are watching or listening to us from. We are happy that you're here. This show powered by Radical Race Gear. If you need a driver's suit, if you need shoes, any kind of sublimated crew shirts, if you want to look like a champion, Radical Race Gear is the place to go. RadicalRaceGear.com is their website. Go check them out as we get started with today's show. We have got a gentleman who comes from the same part of the country that I come from, and that is the New York State area. Matt Steffenhagen is our guest. He's the general manager of Troyer Dirt Cars, which is one of the top brands of Northeast big block modified racing. Of course, you can also put a small block in it too. It's now owned by Coyote Race Products, who will manufacture a bunch of winning carts located in Spencerport, New York, on the western side of the state. Welcome, Matt, to the show. We appreciate having you on.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Talk a little bit about Troyer Dirt Cars. Tell us a little bit about the business, what's going on, what you guys do, and all of that.
So obviously the Troyer legacy goes back quite a ways, starting in 1977. The dirt cars have really been there since the early 80s, and the business has gone through a bit of a transition here in the last 4 years when Mark purchased the business from the former owners. So it was separated off from the asphalt side.
Yep.
And starting the beginning of 2023, we started manufacturing all of the chassis here ourselves too. So still the same cars. We still try to maintain all the same quality, innovation, all that sort of stuff as far as keeping the Troyer brand going as Troyer. But we do it all here ourselves. So it's a little different than it used to be. There's not asphalt cars being built under this roof. It's all dirt cars.
And yes, and we'll get to the go-kart side in a bit because I want to talk about that a little bit too with you. Maynard Troyer, of course, one of the most revered and accomplished NASCAR-style modified sportsman racers of his time, started racing in the late 60s and dominated much of the 70s on the track, and then started building cars for other people. And Maynard, of course, some of the audience, if you're familiar with Daytona way back in the early 70s, unfortunately, Maynard is known as the driver with perhaps the longest series of flips in the history of Daytona International Speedway. I think he rolled about 18 times. And I think it was 72
We've all seen that video.
73. Yeah, it's on YouTube if you want to go look it up. Just look up Maynard Troyer flip at Daytona. It will come up and it will shock you. And he walked out of that without serious injury and went on to win a whole bunch of races. And as we said, started mass producing the asphalt modifieds and then got into the dirt track business in the early 80s. And now that particular side of it is owned by Coyote Race Products, as we mentioned. So there are a number of different types of chassis that are out there in the Northeast modified world. Talk a little bit about what makes Troyer Dirt Cars different.
Well, so our rules package, unlike really anywhere else in the country, it's pretty nailed down for what you can build and what you can do. So it really comes down to features. We try to make everything as user-friendly as possible. And really the push with the building the TD5, which is our current car, started end of 2019. Everything on it's modular. So if we do any sort of updates, any different suspension setups, you can unbolt brackets, put different brackets on, and it's really modular. So it's easy to update and easy to maintain.
So how has that changed over the years? I mean, I can remember back in the mid-'70s when I first started going to dirt tracks before Maynard started producing cars. You know, back then the dirt modifieds, much like everything else, was sort of a sportsman type car. You could go buy parts at a junkyard. The bodies were all different. You know, you had a lot of variety in the car construction and such. And it was really kind of kind of fun back then, some innovation going on. And I know it's changed in general a lot over the years, but what have you seen just in the last 4 or 5 years in terms of the changes to the dirt modifieds themselves and the rules and the motors and all of that? Talk a little bit about the evolution of that class.
So the biggest thing is really our brand of racing went through a revolution end of 2017, beginning of 2018, which was when we switched to the left side panhard bar. Sounds simple to the casual listener, but that was a major change. So that changed how we valve shocks, how we set up the cars, how much harder you can drive the car in the slick. I mean, it really flipped the whole thing on its head, and that's what we've been working on ever since, really since that period.
Is that due to, is the slick track sort of the main characteristic in the Northeast of the tracks, and that's why, you were seeking to improve in that area?
Yeah, I mean, typically end of the night, long features, track's going to be slick. That's where the money's won, so that's where you need to be good. Most everybody can get around on a fast track, so the biggest thing is being fast when there's no grip available, feeling like you have grip when there's no grip available. So that's really what drove that, and really it gets us in line with what any other dirt division does in the rest of the country. At pretty much every dirt division in the country, you mount the panhard bar on the left side of the chassis,
okay,
and get into that similar setup. Got us off of torsion bars and onto coils in the rear. So we're able to just have a lot more adjustability in the cars too.
Now you've had some background as as a racer. I mean, you drove a dirt sportsman car, and then of course came to work at Troyer Dirt in 2020, 2021. Tell us a little bit about your driving background and how you feel like that's helped prepare you for this job working with Troyer Dirt cars.
So I first got in a dirt sportsman car in 2014, which is pretty late in life for most people to start racing, but just had the right opportunities come my way, and I was able to do it the right way. So being around that, and we were able to have some pretty good success in the sportsman division. We won Super Dirt Week in 2019 with Kyle Inman.
Wow.
Got a lot of experience there, and how we really got to where we were was doing our own thing, building our own parts. So a lot of that transfers into what I'm doing here. And even some of the parts today are still some things we designed back then. And not only that, having owned and operated the car, I kind of know what you need, what you don't need, what's convenient, what's not convenient. So I try to make sure that's all cooked into whatever kind of new design we're doing, anything like that. So
I feel like so much of even short track racing now, with the costs being what they are, I feel like a lot of it, Matt, it's slowly becoming white collar, but I feel like the dirt side of things is still sort of fighting hard to maintain that working class, sphere, if you will, but how do you see dirt track racing in terms of what are they doing to control costs, and what's going on to try and keep everything in line for the racers on that side of things?
So on the very top level of it, there's very little that can be done at this current stage with the cost of engines and everything. But people are managing to do it. We're seeing really good car counts at a lot of tracks, a lot of series races this year. But for the most part, the classes that you see growing right now, like Dirt Car 358 is growing a whole bunch right now. And it's a lot of guys from sportsmen moving up, guys that probably would like to run a big block, but it's just out of reach. So 358 is really providing a good modified class that's growing a lot. I mean, there were 99 cars that took time at Super Dirt Week last year.
Wow.
So it shows that those are still not cheap engines either. I mean, you're probably spending on the low end $18,000, on the high end $35,000. You can spend some money on those engines, but it's at least somewhat attainable for the working man or a small business owner, something like that. It's not completely out of reach.
Can you tell us, for those in our audience who are not familiar with this, can you tell us kind of just in a basic way the difference between the Dirt Sportsman, the Dirt 358, and the Dirt Modified or Big Block?
So the Dirt Sportsman uses the GM 602 crate engine. It's a basic stock cast iron head 350 engine. You have to run it as is from GM. Unfortunately, that's doubled in cost in the last few years. It used to be about a $3,200 engine. It's now nearly $7,000 from GM, but that's still, relatively speaking, in the racing world, pretty cost effective.
Yeah, quite a bit.
So you see a lot of sportsman cars out there. The next level up would be spec head 358, and in the dirt car side of things, we have to run spec intake, spec exhaust, basically same carburetor as sportsman. But I mean, it's 550 horsepower, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's enough to have a good time. They run spec head in PA also. It's a little more open.
Okay.
Then you go beyond that. Short Track Super Series is basically open motor, anything with a cast iron block. So big block, late model style, open small blocks. And then the Super Dirt Series is all big block engines.
So
cost-wise, you're going 6,800, 20,000, 50,000.
Not bad. Okay, so there is a legitimate sort of step ladder approach that you can take. You could start racing at the sportsman level and then fairly easily transition, because the cars themselves are basically the same across all three of those divisions, right? It's just motors and carburetors and maybe tires or whatever.
Yeah, exactly the same cars, and really across the board, save for a couple of oddball places, we run the same tires. Only difference is you're going to need a dry sump system and a big block. Other than that, you can use the same cars, maybe a few different shock rules, but nothing crazy. So yeah, it's essentially all the same, just change the engine.
Yeah, see, I think that's one thing that the dirt track side of things has done really well up there in the Northeast, has created that sort of divisional. It's almost like, start in single A, then go to double A, and then go to triple A, if you want to use a baseball analogy. And it's pretty easy to make that transition as long as you can afford the next step. And so you see a lot of drivers that are able to do those things. But they all race pretty much on the same tracks, and often on the same night. You'll see at least two of those three divisions in competition. So how many cars does Troyer typically build and sell per year?
We've been right around 30 lately. I think we could safely handle 40 to 50 and be comfortable. So we're getting there. It's just a matter of we're up against a behemoth with Bicknell. I mean, they're producing 350 chassis a year. So just to claw any of that away is difficult. Guys have those cars, have those parts. It's hard to get them to transition to our stuff. But we continue to claw away at it, and really that's all driven through, if you can have a guy that's just a local hero and beating everybody locally, guys don't want to keep getting beat by that car every week. They end up going to get one, and that shows at certain tracks for us.
So what tracks do you feel like you're sort of standing out at right now? Tell us about some of the tracks and the drivers that are doing well in your cars.
So Tim Sears Jr. has been our main driver really since we started here, and he's very, very good at his local tracks, Fulton and Brewerton. And it shows how that bottom-up approach works, is that when we started going to those tracks, we'd have maybe two Troyer cars there. Now we have nearly a third of the field in some cases at those two tracks. So it definitely pays off to have a guy that's really, really good in your corner, and just they get to see it every week. So they have to chase it every week. Eventually they want to try to join in. And now he's been out on the Dirt Series too. He's finished top 5 in points the last 2 years, and improving every year. So that's been a big help for us.
So, other than Timmy, are there other drivers that are standing out in some of the various divisions?
So Jackson Gill, you interviewed here a couple months ago.
We did.
They decided to go up and run Cornwall last year in Canada, and that's paid off huge for him. They figured out really, really good there, and they won some really big races. Kind of blindsided everybody up there. They came out and won the first 3 races of the season last year, and so he's definitely a force. And just the couple of races he's run so far this year, they've been podiums. One being a win, his first ever at his home track of Can-Am. So he's another one that's out there and making it happen. That's with a 358, but they have a big block too. Yeah, we have quite a few, and then, like I said, with just the Fulton and Brewerton deal, we have a few guys we picked up in the off season that I think are going to be really good for us too. Chris Mackey got a couple of cars from us.
Okay.
He's a local guy, Fulton and Brewerton, Utica area guy. He's been really good. Larry White made the switch over end of last year. He had a really good Florida Speed Weeks. He was a contender to win every night down there. So that's another huge one too. So we've got a lot going for us, and just got to keep it rolling.
So I got 2 more questions for you. And the first one is, what do you see as being the future? When you look out a year, 2 years, 3 years, where do you see big block modified racing, or, modified racing in general, going in the Northeast?
I really think kind of staying the course right now. It seems like the 358 deal is working out well. Sportsman's going to go through some challenges soon with GM's crate parts program. So we'll see where that takes us. But yeah, that may turn into something. We'll see. But as of now, it's all crate engines. It should be business as usual. I just don't know how you get into. So there's lots of different attempts at either trying a larger crate engine or some sort of inexpensive package to get people to move up to modified. The Short Track Super Series has an LS-based small block that's very competitive for in the neighborhood of $30,000, and you're racing against $50,000 engines, very competitive, won a lot of races. Okay. So I think you're going to continue to see people try different packages like that. The GM CT525 crate is being tried actually this week at Can-Am Speedway against the 358s. So
oh, wow.
There's lots of attempts out there to try to just lower costs of entry for guys to move up.
Okay, so we'll look forward to following that. And the final question that I have for you today is, tell us a little bit about if somebody's interested in getting into racing on the dirt side. Then I actually do want to ask a question about the kart side too. But on the dirt side of things, if somebody wants to get in, where do they go? How do they follow you, talk to you, and kind of get information about Troyer dirt cars?
So most everything's run through our Facebook page. So that's the best place to check out what we have going on. Our website, you can actually, if you were looking to purchase a car, we have a feature on there where you can kind of spec out all the options you would want.
Oh.
And it'll give you a rough estimate of what that's going to cost you. Otherwise, always available by phone here, 585-617-5003. And I'm always at a track somewhere. You'll see me around. So lots of ways to get involved and get a hold of us.
Okay, and before we let you go, we'll get you out of here on this one. Tell us a little bit about the Coyote division, the kart division that you have, and again, talk a little bit about how someone gets involved in that, because I feel like you guys have built a nice little sort of stepladder situation of your own where you technically could go from the karts right up into the big blocks if you're Northeast based.
Right. So the Coyote side is doing really well. They can't keep up with how many chassis they're putting out. I mean, we just sent a whole pallet of 4 complete carts out here yesterday, and I believe they're stacking up some more today. So
nice.
That's gone really well. That's more national based, so they rely on dealer networks a lot more as far as getting involved and getting chassis. So, but you can contact us directly. It's coyotecart.com. But there's a lot of really good dealers for them. Performance Karting in Florida, John Seglem has been a really big push for the Coyote brand, and that's really helped move that along.
Yeah, I know that we've got an Arrive and Drive group here, Jars of Crack Racing here in the Southeast in the Carolinas that's really got some exciting drivers and things going on as well. So excited to see what you guys are doing. CoyoteCarts.com and TroyerDirtCars.com are the two websites. Hope everybody will go check them out. Matt, thanks for jumping on with us and talking a little bit about what you got going up there in the Northeast, and we look forward to having you on again as things progress during the season.
Yeah, thanks again for having me, and yeah, anytime. I love to talk racing, so.
Awesome. That's Matt Steffenhagen. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we've got Lightning London McKenzie, one of the fastest rising racers from the Southeast here. We're going to talk with London right around the corner. For over 50 years, FHS Superior Synthetic Oil has powered high-performance engines with unbeatable protection and speed. Whether it's drag racing, go-karts, sprint cars, stock cars, or your daily driver, FHS stands for high speed and delivers every time. Their advanced synthetic oils boost your engine's responsiveness, acceleration, and efficiency, giving you the winning edge on every lap. Visit FHSoil.com today to find the right products for your engine. FHSoil.com.
Attention track and series owners, elevate your fan experience with the TrackTune app. TrackTune works with your PA system. Fans and teams at the track can hear the announcers through their phones, ensuring everyone hears race calls, sponsor plugs, and more during race nights. It's simple to set up, affordable, and free for fans to download and enjoy. Visit tracktune.live for all the details and join tracks nationwide on the app today.
For race fans across the United States, GetInTheStands.com is the place to find racetracks where you live and where you're traveling. Just go to GetInTheStands.com and enter your location. You'll see the tracks within 100 miles of that point, either as a list or on a map. GetInTheStands.com is 100% free to use and mobile friendly. So whether you're on a computer, a tablet, or on your phone, there's no need to download an app. To find racetracks across the United States, open your web browser and head to GetInTheStands.com. GetInTheStands.com, your racetrack directory.
Welcome back to the show. Our second guest of the week has joined us. Lightning London McKenzie is with us now. London is a 15-year-old, fast-rising, young, up-and-coming racer from the North Carolina area. And London has had a really good last year or so. Welcome to the show, London. It's good to have you on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So blessed to have this opportunity. Really excited about it, and can't wait to talk some racing with you.
Tell us a little bit about your background. How old were you when you first got interested in racing, and what was your background in getting started?
Yeah, so I'm a second-generation racer. My dad raced before me. He raced legend cars for most of his life, maybe dotted a couple late model races in there, and then raced 2 ARCA races before he settled down for a little bit when I was first born. I grew up watching the Cars movie with Lightning McQueen, which is funny because I'm number 95 now, and coincidentally called Lightning London, so maybe not so much of a coincidence. But yeah, I grew up, started in the Bandolero class when I was just 8 years old, then moved up to legend cars when I was 12. Started racing legend cars for a couple years there with 860 Motorsports. Went on to win the national championship last year in 2024. Just super great opportunity this year. I've moved up to the ARCA Menards series, made a start in 5 Flags earlier this year, and now we're racing a little bit of late model stuff with Ross Dalton, and just really excited to see where my racing career goes, but that's what we got so far.
Well, and you're also racing on the dirt as well with Kyle Beattie Racing and SKE Chassis, running micro sprints, and recently got your very first dirt track win at Millbridge Speedway in the non-wing micros. Talk a little bit about driving those bad boys, because they just look like a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, although people walk up to me a lot talking about asphalt, I love the dirt. I do it just as much this season, if not more. Really trying to up my career and get a better feel for all-around racing, because you have people like Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell who can really just feels like drive anything and be competitive. So, you know, I'm trying to follow in their footsteps. I'm racing for SKE. I got Kyle Beattie and Adam Welch working on my stuff this year. We recently picked up a win out at Millbridge Speedway. That's kind of my home track at the moment. Made it out to Tulsa, the Tulsa Shootout this past year. Gonna try to get back out there in 2025 or technically it'd be 2026 because it's at the beginning of the year. But yeah, I've been doing that, trying to progress, get a different feel for a different style of racing. Where in asphalt you have the mirrors and you got the spotter and all that type of stuff. But when you're out there on the dirt, you just feel more independent. You don't have a spotter, you have no mirrors. It's a whole different world. It really is. But just super great opportunity with them. I know that's where I guess I primarily see you at. I know you've been out to Millbridge Speedway and go and watch. It's a good time. And if any of you racers or fans are located in North Carolina, it's definitely a good Wednesday night show to go watch.
Yeah, it really is. It's crazy. It's basically like a midweek throwdown. And, you know, you never know. Like you said, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch's son Brexton, Kyle Larson's son Owen. You know, there's just a lot of sort of NASCAR and big car influence there. And, you know, those guys are coming into your world and running against, you know, those of you who do this on a regular basis. So it's fun to sort of watch that every week. But you've done a variety of racing between, you know, the Bandos, the Legends, the ARCA car now this year you've added, and the dirt car along with the late model. Which car out of all of those do you most enjoy racing and why?
So I say I enjoy the asphalt. It might have to do a little bit with the success I've had on it. You know, my parents were talking to me about future plans of racing, and I was like, you can't take me off dirt. I love dirt. It's such a good time out there. What would I like the most? Which I've just ventured into the ARCA, so it's still a little bit new to me. But getting out there with all that horsepower, I can say it was definitely a good time, good experience. You know, I don't know if I can pinpoint exactly what my favorite is, but I will say absolutely anytime I get a chance to get behind the wheel of a race car, there's no bad time. It's always better than school, right?
Well, yes, but grades are important, right? Otherwise, you don't get to go racing. So that's kind of how that works. Okay, I want to talk about the ARCA car because you've had two races in the car. The first one went really well, finished 8th at Five Flags in the ARCA East Series race. And then you went to the East Series race at Rockingham, just off of your first dirt track win. You went in with so much momentum, and doggone, two things you can never count on in a race car: motor and tires. And it was a tire that bit you and you crashed hard. Talk about the two races that you've run in the ARCA series a little bit, and, you know, tell us that crash had to just hurt, because it looked like it hurt.
Yeah, so we started out at Five Flags. Definitely a weird experience getting in the car. When I tell you I came to the restart that very first time, and I go to hit it in third gear, shift up, and I'm fishtailing down the straightaway all of a sudden. So it was definitely a whole new experience for me with all that power and all that grip with that really fat, wide tire compared to a Legend car. But, yeah, so it went well. We wound up with a 8th place start and finish. So maintained, had definitely big learning curve experience, kept it off the wall. Definitely glad to have that. Went into Rockingham. We did the test session on Friday. It went really well, and unlike most races that they do, they did tech that night after the practice because ARCA Menards East doesn't normally do a Friday practice, but since it was the first time they've traveled there in lots of years, they did that, and we were good on Friday. It was really good. Car handled well. We were running right where I expected to be, and I was happy with it. So we go through tech, and they have these templates that you have to make it through in tech, and we were just maybe an 16th inch off. We were real close. So had to make a small adjustment in tech overnight to meet the standards, which I guess undialed us a little bit. We came back the next day. Unknowingly, with what we changed, we had a small little tire rub that nobody could have known. Just an honest mistake. But, you know, we went out. We were turning some good laps. But, you know, inevitably it bit us in turn 3 and 4. Just get in there. Running probably upper 150s. We were getting around there pretty good and getting between 3 and 4. Right tire goes down, cage hits. At first, I didn't think I got knocked out. May have blacked out a little bit because ended up hitting in 3 and 4 and ended up right at the start-finish lines where I landed. So I guess that was a pretty far way to travel. I don't exactly remember all that, but it was definitely it was a jolt that went through me the second that happened because, you know, all of a sudden you're looking up at the wall at 150. It's not the best feeling, but got out of the car with nothing but like minor bruising, nothing. We got super lucky. CW Motorsports, they prepared a good ride. Super thankful to be in a car that could hold up safely and keep me in one piece where we can keep racing and trucking on this season. Nothing like a good old comeback, right?
Yeah, well, comeback stories are always the best. It's just the part that you got to come back from that you would kind of like to eliminate, right? And, thankful that you were okay. But before you had that bad luck there, that was your first time on a mile track, which obviously is a whole sight bigger than the quarter miles and, 3/8 miles you're used to running. What did you find that was different about the mile track other than obviously the speed? I mean, were you comfortable? What was it like to transition to a track over twice the size of what you're used to?
Yeah, it was definitely a little different. So in the Legend cars, I'm used to the G-force that hits you in the neck here and you're sliding sideways on those little bull rings, right? But in that car was a feeling like I've never felt. In the turns, had the G-force just coming down on me, and it was like sitting you in the car and makes your face want to like come down, right?
Yeah.
So that was definitely a difference. They put me on a different type of spring a little bit. I think they called it pigtail springs was the term, and it makes the car set a little harder, or have to trust it getting into the corner. But it was a little bit of a learning curve. I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't a little scared, at least for a couple laps there.
I'm sure you were.
Over the first test day and the couple laps we turned on race day, it was super fun experience. Growing up watching movies like Cars and watching these big guys on TV, it was pretty cool. I felt like Ricky Bobby's what I told my team there for a minute. But just super excited to hopefully get some more opportunities to race on mile tracks or bigger once I turn 18. And just see where that takes me. But as far as I'm concerned, would love to get back out there.
Okay, what we're going to do here, London, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll pick it up on the other side and talk to you some more. Back with more of the show right after this. For over 50 years, FHS Superior Synthetic Oil has powered high-performance engines with unbeatable protection and speed. Whether it's drag racing, go-karts, sprint cars, stock cars, or your daily driver, FHS stands for high speed and delivers every time. Their advanced synthetic oils boost your engine's responsiveness, acceleration, and efficiency, giving you the winning edge on every lap. Visit FHSoil.com today to find the right products for your engine. FHSoil.com.
For race fans across the United States, GetInTheStands.com is the place to find racetracks where you live and where you're traveling. Just go to GetInTheStands.com and enter your location. You'll see the tracks within 100 miles of that point, either as a list or on a map. GetInTheStands.com is 100% free to use and mobile friendly. So whether you're on a computer, a tablet, or on your phone, there's no need to download an app. To find racetracks across the United States, open your web browser and head to GetInTheStands.com. GetInTheStands.com, your racetrack directory.
Attention track and series owners, elevate your fan experience with the TrackTune app. TrackTune works with your PA system. Fans and teams at the track can hear the announcers through their phones, ensuring everyone hears race calls, sponsor plugs, and more during race nights. It's simple to set up, affordable, and free for fans to download and enjoy. Visit tracktune.live for all the details and join tracks nationwide on the app today.
Welcome back to the show. Lightning London McKenzie is our guest. London is 15, and we've been talking about his already varied career, running everything from Bandoleros to Legends to asphalt late models and micro sprints and ARCA cars this year. Let's go back for a second, London. I want to talk about the Legend car piece for a moment, because last year you had some tremendous success in the Legend cars with 860 Motorsports. Tell us about the things you won and the success you had. Give us a walkthrough of the 2024 season, because it was a big year for you.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. I guess it was almost my time to put in a good year, dominate a little bit. So it was definitely a good time. We've been racing Legend cars for a few years and, never just really built that momentum. But last year we hit it hard, started playing on the simulator more seriously. Went out at the beginning of the year at Citrus County Speedway, and it was a 5-day event. We'd been down there for 4 days, and we had some decent finishes, but not a win yet. But going into that last day, I was still hopeful to get that win, which I guess that hope got a little killed when we went out in qualifying. Qualified nearly dead last because a car that was on the track with me was dumping oil because we do group qualifying, European style, and dumped oil on the track, caused me to qualify nearly last and come to a B main. So I was in the B main, and I raced through that, won the B main, and had to start at the very back of the feature. I believe it was 24th place. And before the race, my dad came up to me, said something. He told me that he believes if we get halfway through this race and I'm halfway through the field, I can win the thing, and he believes it. At the time, I kind of brushed him off, but lo and behold, after 25 really well put together laps, we ended up coming through, passing every car, winning that race. So that was probably one of the highlight points of my season. That was really awesome to do. As far as I know, was the first person in history to do that at that event, so it was pretty cool. Went to the summer shootout. We couldn't, again, get a little bit of luck there for the first couple weeks, but, we had quite the rebound. First 5 weeks, we were banging on the door and just seemed like things kept happening to cause us to not quite be able to get there in victory lane. But round 6 technically, we picked up our first win, parked it in victory lane, and went on to win 4 of the last 5 races.
It was amazing.
Quite the comeback in the points there. We ended up finishing second for the shootout points, and I truly do believe without those 4 wins, I probably couldn't have got the championship done. But won there, picked up a couple wins at Dominion, and that's where the national championship was held. So definitely good to get a little bit of experience at that track before the championship. Didn't hurt. Went on to win 19 races before the championship. Well, technically 20, but one wasn't counted because we didn't have the full field of cars you need to be counted. But went on to the championship. Qualified second there, ran a heat race, won the heat race, started pole for the feature. Just good race. Me, Chase Bergerson, my teammate Leighton Harrison were putting on a show up front. It was definitely a good feature there, but ended up victorious, put it in victory lane there, and won the national championship, which has definitely been one of the highlights of my career.
Yeah, so you had a big year in Legends last year and kind of started, your dirt career more seriously in the micro sprint, and now this year finding success in the micro sprint. But you've also run some late model races. Tell us real quick about your first couple late model starts.
Yeah, so we're partners with Ross Dalton, RDR, sorry, is the team I'm running for. We've ran, I think, 3 races together. We have a second place, a third place, and a 5th so far. So, we're creeping up there. We're racing Caraway this weekend, $3,000 to win, 100 lap race. So super excited to get out to my home track. We're literally located about 15 minutes down the road from there.
Okay.
It's basically in my backyard, but can't thank them enough. They always seem to bring a good piece to the track. There's maybe some talks of making a cars tour start later this year is in the works. So nothing's official yet, but definitely talking about it. And just always happy to be with a team like that, 860, SKE, RDR. I couldn't have done any of this without them. It's a lot of my success is owed to them, 100%.
Well, you've proven to be a very adaptable racer. You're very versatile. Seem to be able to go fast and run up front on a multitude of surfaces and in different types of cars. Give us about 30 seconds to a minute of what Tulsa was like for you out there in the shootout, because that's obviously the granddaddy for the micros, and it was your first experience. I watched you drive from 12th to 3rd in a B main, and you look like you've been doing it for 20 years. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was awesome. I come home, I talked to my mom, couldn't shut up the whole ride home, I guess, because she didn't quite make it out there, but great experience, super fun out there, a lot of people. But it was a good time to leave Millbridge and get out, explore different tracks. Didn't quite have the luck go our way. Made it to the B main for the Outlaw non-wing class. But, we had a lot of speed. Huge thanks to Adam Welch. We ended up coming through a C main, winning that, which was cool because Dason Persley is who finished second to me. Yeah. So cool to run up front ahead of him, keep him behind me. But, definitely coming out swinging next year, looking for some success.
Well, you have really just had a great last, year or two in all kinds of racing. And, you know, it's been fun to be able to sort of follow your career, and great to have you on the program. We'll get you out of here on this one. Tell the fans how they can follow you, socials, website, whatever you got. Where do they keep up with Lightning London McKenzie?
Yeah, so we have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook is my primary platforms. Make posts on there about every race we run. But, you know, if you're looking to follow my race career, my journey, that's where you can find me. All on Lightning London is where the tag's going to be. So, you know, if anybody is interested in what's going on in my crazy life, that's where you can find out.
Well, it certainly has been a crazy life, and you've been able to do some things already at a young age and accomplish some things that I think, you know, a lot of others would only dream about. So I know you can't do all of it by yourself. Who helped you make it all happen?
Yeah, first off, huge thanks to all the race teams that put my cars together. Secondly, I want to thank the Lord. Say a prayer before every race, and I know he's watching over me every time, keeping me safe, leading me to make the right decisions. I want to thank my parents. They always support my career, support my dreams, so really couldn't do it without them. Not 16 yet, so can't even drive myself to the track without them. So, you know, they put blood, sweat, and tears into this just like me, and can't thank them enough. Want to thank my man Tom here for getting me out on the show, and just everybody that lays a hand on the car at all the shops. I can't name enough, can't thank them enough, but, you know, they know who they are.
All right. Well, London, we appreciate having you on, and, you know, go win something big. We'll get you back on again to talk about it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's London McKenzie. And London is one of the young drivers in the Southeast that just really has had a lot of success. And when you watch him run, two things about London. One, no fear whatsoever. He's just as likely to be ripping the lips, so to speak, you know, running the top at Millbridge in the micro sprint as he is to, you know, to strap into an ARCA car on a mile for the first time and run very competitively with that. I mean, and he's done well in everything he's driven. So London McKenzie is one of the names to keep your eye on in the future here. He's got some great potential. And that wraps up this episode of the Tom Baker Show. It's been great to be on air again. We'll be back next week with more. Until then, for more great content, steeringwheelnation.com is the place to go. We got some cool things coming up on the hub as we get into the heart of the racing season here this summer. So get over there and subscribe, steeringwheelnation.com. Also, you can catch our streaming channel on the PowerTube TV platform. Just look for Steering Wheel Nation. We run our show 24/7 on there. So if you miss an episode, you can probably catch it on there at some point. You can marathon us all day and just check out some great guests. Also, of course, social channels. We are on both Facebook and Instagram at The Wheel Nation, and I am Tom Baker TV on Instagram. And if you're on LinkedIn, you can find me there too. Tom Baker Media is the place, and Steering Wheel Nation also on there as well. Until next time, thanks to all of our sponsors. So long.